Greetings, everybody. It's Friday, February 5th. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. Alonso here, Matt and Christy. So much news, so many marquees, so much stuff to talk about. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome. We begin with some sad news today, and that is the death of Christopher Plummer.
Yep.
He was 92?
I thought it was 91.
Anyway.
In his 90s.
But this just happened just as we were just about to begin recording. And it's amazing what a year we've had already in 2021 with just the legends that we have lost. As many folks pointed out, thank you for reminding me. We forgot to mention Larry King last week among legends who have left us. Cicely Tyson, Cloris Leachman, and now Christopher Plummer just in this first month of 2021. I don't know how he died. The early obits just say he died at his Connecticut home. But just what a legend, you know, from Sound of Music all the way through to his Oscar that he finally won for Beginners. Yep. We have fond memories, Alonso and I, of him at our LA Film Critics dinner. He was wise, and he made the rounds, and he was charming,
very charming,
unflappably charismatic every time.
91, according to the
91. Thank you. And just to think about how he had to step into all the money in the world in place of Kevin Spacey toward the end of his career.
And became a meme out of that, basically. The running joke, and anybody to be replaced in movies, like, well, can we just cover him up with Christopher Plummer? Apparently, cause was a blow to the head after a fall, according to the New York.
God.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's tragic.
After the fall.
Yeesh. That's tragic. But speaking of him being a meme...
Yes.
The meme of him as Captain Von Trapp ripping up the swastika flag is eternal.
Antifa. Yeah. And a movie he hated legendarily, by the way. He always referred to it as The Sound of Mucus. But I mean, when you star in one of the highest grossing films of all time, whether you're Alec Guinness in Star Wars or Christopher Plummer in The Sound of Music, you just have to kind of own that as part of your legacy. Was Knives Out his last screen appearance?
Maybe. Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, a legend, Canadian born, star of one of my favorite twisted Christmas movies. He played a deranged bank robber dressed as Santa Claus in The Silent Partner, which was an early script by Curtis Hanson. And he is terrifying in that movie. So if you think of him as cuddly or stentorian, he will scare the shit out of you in The Silent Partner. Amazing actor.
Yeah. So very sad news to begin our show today. But we have other news. Actually, more sad news. Dustin Diamond died too.
Yes.
This is weird. So he had been sick for a while with carcinoma, right? He'd been a 3-week battle with carcinoma. So. He was hospitalized last month. He was only 44 years old. The three of us are all a little too old to have been fans of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. Right. That definitely after our time. But and obviously he had a lot of problems in his life. But 44. That is really tragic.
Oh shit! I forgot Hal Holbrook.
Yes. Oh my God. I know all the nonagenarians and working into their 90s, these cats, all of them. I mean, Cicely Tyson had just published her memoir. Cloris Leachman had just been in The Crude sequel, and there's a couple more movies in the pipeline. Yeah. Hal Holbrook, stage, screen, television legend. Dixie Carter was his third wife, I recently discovered. But most famous, obviously, for doing the Mark Twain one-man show for decades. But actually, interesting footnote in his history, played the lead in one of the first gay-themed TV movies ever made, a movie called That Certain Summer. He and Martin Sheen played a couple. It was written by Levinson and Link, the guys who created Columbo and Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So Hal Holbrook began playing Mark Twain at age 29. when Twain was supposed to have been 70, and he joked that increasingly he needed less and less makeup to get on stage and be believable.
He's one of those guys that I always think that I'm going to someday do a slideshow of actors that had been born old. Right, he's one of those guys, right? Brian Cox is in there, Tommy Lee Jones,
Brimley,
Brian Dennehy.
Brian Dennehy. Yeah, I mean, even in their 30s, they look like they're in their 60s.
Well, it's so weird. What is the name of the Jonathan Banks from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad? When you see him in Airplane,
I know,
and you're like, oh, you had a Dewey period, exactly. You're used to these people always being old,
The other news we have this week is a bunch of awards nominations came out. It's a little late. We are now kind of beginning award season. And even though this year has been insane, the Golden Globes are predictably wacky.
Yeah.
That feels like the insanity of the Golden Globe nomination is a nice bit of familiar comfort.
Yes, that's what he said. Oh, we're bitching about the Globes. Nature is healing itself.
Exactly. Yes, their awfulness is at least reliable.
Indeed.
Yeah. So you have things that like Jared Leto in The Little Things. He also was nominated for a SAG award. So nowhere in here do we have Paul Raci for Sound of Metal.
Nope.
But you have Jared Leto twice, and it's just weird.
And a nomination for music, a movie that I only know exists because it's made a lot of people very angry already.
Right. This is Sia's writing and directing, and she did the music for it.
Yeah.
Kate Hudson is in it with Maddie Ziegler playing an autistic woman. And I remember that it was controversial because of the casting, but then also because of the way that Sia responded to that backlash, which wasn't the most graceful. Anyway, so we have that, but with the Golden Globes,
they love a former Miss Golden Globe, right? Which Kate Hudson was, if I recall correctly. I think so.
Well, usually it is a child of famous people.
Yeah.
Which she is.
I'm pretty sure she was one at one point.
Even though Spike Lee did not get nominated by the Globes, and his kids are ambassadors this year.
Yikes.
Ooh,
well,
awkward.
But they did, the director categories. I'm sure, Christy, I don't want to cut you off here.
I was about to say the next thing. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
No, just historically inclusive, and it was the first time that 3 women are nominated. Only the second Black female director after Ava DuVernay. But Chloe Zhao was up for Nomadland, Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, and Regina King for One Night in Miami.
Right. That's exciting. And then like Chadwick Boseman at the SAG Awards got 4 posthumously, 2 individually for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Defy Bloods, and then 2 as part of an ensemble for both of those films. So there is...
And he got both nominations at the Globes as well, right?
Yeah.
Lead and supporting, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess there is, there is some good stuff, but those are wacky in general. And then also with the Golden Globes, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are going to host them from 2 different coasts.
Yes.
So Tina Fey is going to host them from New York, from the Rainbow Room at the top of Rockefeller Center. And then Amy Poehler is going to host them from the Beverly Hilton, where the Golden Globes would take place ordinarily. But I don't know if they've worked out yet, like how are they going to actually present these things to people?
I don't know if they're going to have the guys in the hazmat suits outside like the Emmys did or what, but I'll tell you, you thought celebrities got drunk at the Beverly Hilton. Just wait till we see them at home.
Right. In their jammies.
Because they all got like baskets of, Piper Heidsieck or something.
So are we ready for how, if they're trying to do banter, how awful the delay is going to make it all feel?
Yeah.
Right? Like that broadcast delay, even just like on a second, like throws off the timing, and it's just going to be shitty.
You go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you.
I'm hoping that like for Amy and Tina, they have like the super like satellite setup where it'll be like crisper. But you're right. That's always going to be a thing. Or they'll ride around it and just do individual bits or something.
That's what they would have to do, right? Like, because physics only allows you to do so much. As one of my broadcast tech friends has tried to explain to network executives from time to time, like, we can't change physics.
It's all strange. And of course, this is what it has to be. People can't go gather in a ballroom at this point, but it's all strange.
It's a trap.
It is. Oh, that's really cute, you guys. Matt's holding up his Admiral Akbar tiki mug. That's beautiful.
Right? Isn't that a great mug?
That's really cool. It's like a coral. Is it like a coral color, Matt?
It is kind of a coral color, yes.
A grapefruit color.
From Geeky Tikis. This is
really cute.
Admiral Akbar.
That's really cute. Speaking of the Screen Actors Guild, the most hilarious piece of news this week is Trump resigning in a huff. because they were gonna have a hearing to strip him of his SAG-AFTRA membership because he incited a riot, and that's against SAG rules. And so he wrote this letter on his quasi-official office of Donald J. Trump,
the 45th president.
Right? Don't call him a former president.
No.
He's forever 45th. The 45th president. And so the whole thing, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the whole thing reads like a parody of what Trump resigning from the Screen Actors Guild might sound like.
Funny.
Like,
so
I
petulant.
hear you're going to have a hearing about me. Who cares? I'm not familiar with your work, but perhaps you know me from such films as Home Alone 2.
Well, the funny thing is,
and one of the most successful TV shows of all time.
Ever.
The Apprentice.
Yes.
Ever.
He's writing this letter to Gabrielle Carteris, who's the current president of SAG. And as somebody on Twitter pointed out, look, I know this is not the issue here, but given how mired Trump is in like 1990s Page Six gossip, he totally knows all the 90210 people.
Right? Right, but she wasn't one of the hot ones on 90210. He knows
That's
Kelly
true.
and Donna.
There you go.
Not Andrea.
And then not to be outdone, there's that great Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet after she gets booted off all of her committees, right? Because she's so awful. She's like, ha, 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 do you know how much time I'm now going to have?
But the funny joke with that is that a day earlier on The Onion had a fake story saying Marjorie Taylor Greene now has all kinds of time on her hands now that she's been kicked off of these committees. And so then she did that with zero irony. Yeah, but the best part, the kicker of this Trump SAG story is that Gabrielle Carteris's response was 2 words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel so bad for the people at The Onion, like how you keep up with the world as it is right now. It's like, good
You
luck.
can't. Okay, so let's talk about the latest lawsuit coming from all these allegations of election fraud. Previously, we had Dominion voting machines, suing Fox News and Rudy Giuliani for
the My Pillow guy.
Right, My Pillow guy, $1.3 billion. Now, Smartmatic has sued for $2.7 billion. They are suing Fox News Channel, Judge Jeanine, Maria Bartiromo, Lou Dobbs, plus Rudy Giuliani and the Kraken herself, Sidney Powell.
Good. Because, the My Pillow guy just can't stop, won't stop. He just bought like 3 hours on OAN to run some crackpot documentary with all this stuff. And even OAN ran like an 80-second disclaimer of like, this is him. This is not us. We're not saying it. He's saying it. Like, don't sue us. Sue that guy.
Well, this is hilarious clip that went around this week of when they tried to have the My Pillow guy on Newsmax. And they brought him on to talk about, quote unquote, cancel culture, because he'd been booted from Twitter and the official My Pillow account got booted from Twitter.
Because he tried to use it.
They brought him on to talk about cancel culture, and he immediately begins in again with all the nonsense election fraud allegations. And Bob Sellers, to his credit, reads a thing like a hostage thing, like, hi, we do not endorse this. And then at one point just fucking gets out of his seat and leaves. Like there's like the 3 box and he just gets up and goes, and like, it's like an SNL skit.
It's so funny. The My Pillow guy is like trying to like spew all this stuff, and the dude is just talking over him and like reading the disclaimer. And it's just like, what is even happening here?
It's crazy. Yeah. So we decided we would not review the 3-hour-long My Pillow guy documentary, which is called Absolute Proof. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. So we are not going to review that. Sorry. If you guys watch it, let us know how it is.
Indeed.
And the kicker with that is that he said, I'm putting out this movie. It's going to prove everything. And if it doesn't, the rapture's coming. Jesus is coming. Pray and get ready. So how is he going to determine that? Like box office, like downloads, like page views? How is he going to know whether?
Clearly, the reinstatement of Trump to his rightful position is he'll settle for nothing less.
Oh my God. Anyway, so that's one bit of craziness. Also, with all this GameStop stuff that we tried to understand last week. Yes, Matt, I hear you.
Before
Please
we
don't
get to
explain
that,
it again.
You're right. No, before we get to that, there's the other guy from Newsmax that was angry at McDonald's this week. Did you guys catch that?
Greg Kelly was on Fox News Channel for a really long time, and he was pissed because he couldn't find McFish. And he also spelled it McDonald's, M-A-C, Donald's.
Oh, right.
Although he posted a picture of a physical McDonald's restaurant. He said he went in for McFish, and they didn't have McFish, and it's cancel culture.
When the hell did that happen? Is it permanently banned? I'm looking at it right now. Or is it just my McDonald's. I demanded to see the manager. I don't know why that gets quotes. So they accused me of being a male Karen. So I walked out.
Well, if he waits until Lent, they're going to come out again. They always do fillet of fish at Lent, so you can have fish on Friday.
Permanent.
Okay.
It is, but definitely Lent.
Yeah.
Right. But having just looked this up, yes, the fillet of fish is available year round. McDonald's does not have, and I don't think, based on my cursory research, ever had a McFish.
No.
Oh, is that what he's mad about? Because that's
what he's mad. It's like, there's not a McFish on the menu.
It's the filet o fish.
Filet o fish.
Perhaps you should just have a large Mac and a Gallic fries.
Royale with cheese. Where's that? I don't see that on the menu.
Cheese, right.
This is America.
If he goes back to the Gilded Arches, maybe.
All I know about Greg Kelly is that he was a constant fodder on The Soup when that show was on E, because like when he was hosting whatever the New York morning show was, because he was constantly showing his ass and being an idiot, and I guess that's what he's doing now.
He was on WNYW in New York, but he was at Fox News Channel for a while too.
Okay,
it's really entertaining, right? But there is McRib though is special and a limited time menu item.
Yes.
So don't confuse them.
No.
McRib is special. Anyway, I was going to say there are various GameStop movies in the works already. Like we don't even fully understand what the thing is, and people are already jumping on what it is. So, Matt, as you pointed out, there's already a documentary that's in production about it.
Yeah. And then Netflix is doing a fictional or a narrative version with Noah Centineo in it as I don't know who.
To all the games I've loved. P.S. I play you.
I know we've brought this up before. How has no one yet cast him and Mark Ruffalo as father and son?
It's good.
It'll happen.
Right?
That is really good. Also,
or if they do Young Hulk.
Yeah, there we go.
Also, Netflix and Sega are teaming up for a Sonic Prime animated series. In case we want more Sonic the Hedgehog in our lives.
Okay.
I mean, the movie was fun.
It was fun. This is different though. This is going to be animated. So I wonder if it's like aimed for kids. I wonder if it's one of those animated shows where it's like really for adults too.
Is it the dark and gritty Sonic reboot that we've been
there was a long running Sonic cartoon already that people liked, actually, that I hear.
And it's been a comic book that Archie has published for ages.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos is stepping down as Amazon CEO in the summer. What's he going to do all day?
Ruin the Washington Post.
The failing Washington Post. Call it by its name.
Look, the Washington Post does a lot of stuff that's great, but they currently they just ran this ridiculous op-ed about like, trying to sort of correct what Bernie Sanders was saying about people supporting tax cuts. And it was so like billionaires looking out for billionaires. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of billionaires looking out for real people, Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton says that Trump tried to give her the Presidential Medal of Freedom twice, and she turned him down.
And that's why she's a hero.
Dolly is a treasure and a hero. Other news for you. Oh, Ryan Coogler has signed this big exclusive deal with Disney Plus, a 5-year deal. He's going to develop a Wakanda TV show.
Sure. Great.
That sounds cool.
I'll be fascinated to see where this franchise goes without Chadwick Boseman, but I think there's enough stuff there, enough interesting characters and performers to make this thing work. So
right. Shuri's in charge of things now. John M. Chu is going to direct a film version of Wicked.
Which, if you're going to do one, he's a good guy to ask.
That only took decades to make happen.
At least they didn't hire Tom Hooper.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, John M. Chu has such a good feel for musicals.
Yeah.
It'll be light.
Toby Hooper would have been amazing.
Yes. Alonso, did you see this? That this country singer T.J. Osborne of the Osborne Brothers has come out?
No, I didn't. The only country news I heard this week was about the racist guy who got taken off the radio. Good for T.J. Osborne.
T.J. Osborne. They're I don't know them. They're a country rock duo. I would think in a musical realm that isn't necessarily the most welcoming.
Country's a tricky one, but obviously they're not unprecedented and not the last either. So,
and you have folks like Casey Musgraves who sing about issues of equality.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like Garth Brooks in the early 90s had like the one song of his that didn't become a top 10 hit on country radio. The one single was We Shall Be Free, which included queer people in its message of tolerance and understanding.
Yes. Now I have sad news for you. Tony Bennett has Alzheimer's.
Yes.
He is 94. He has had it for at least 4 years.
He did a piece in the AARP magazine about that, right? Is that where that came from? Yeah.
But he remembers Lady Gaga. He knows who she is and their bond.
I mean, Jesus, who wouldn't remember that? Like,
right.
I think she's Alzheimer's proof.
It's true. Woody Allen. So HBO Max, and I don't know if there's anything that we ever want to watch or talk about, but starting February 21st, there is this 4-part documentary called Allen versus Pharaoh, which Kirby Dick and Amy Ziering did, the ones who did The Hunting Ground.
And On the Record.
Yeah. It's a 4-part documentary series about allegations of abuse. It's interviews with Mia and Ronan Farrow, and Carly Simon's in it. And I don't know if it's like icky, we don't want to talk about it.
I love their work, but it's like I was telling Dave about this today because I just read about it, and I'm amazed it's already coming on. Like I'd never heard that it even existed until today. And he said, ultimately, this is another thing that's going to come down to a he said, she said, because they are both still alive. They're both powerful. So I'm sure evidence will be presented on both sides and great and stuff. But I don't know what we're supposed to come away with from this one.
Definitively, you mean?
Exactly.
He will continue to be able to make movies. No because doubt. He has been able to for many, many years now, despite being under that kind of scrutiny.
Exactly.
And despite former stars of his coming out and saying, oh, I never would have worked with him if I'd known.
Yeah. I mean, he has defenders, he has detractors, she has defenders, she has detractors. And it's just ultimately like, I don't know what definitive anything anybody's going to come up with that wouldn't have already come up in the, their divorce case and in all the reams of copy that this has generated over the last, however many years it's been now.
It will be good to see Ronan on camera, just as a reminder that he is absolutely Sinatra's kid.
Yeah, he has like him.
He looks just like Frank Sinatra.
He does. He kind of has Mia's coloring, but he has Frank's face for sure. Also, we got to talk about this story that has been developing all week long with Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson.
Ooh, yeah.
So Evan Rachel Wood, for years has spoken very honestly about being a survivor of abuse, physical, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, never named who it was that perpetrated this against her. People always assumed it was Marilyn Manson, who she was with for a long time. But in a long Instagram post, confirmed indeed that that's who it was, says that he, quote, horrifically abused me for years, began grooming her as a teenager. She was 18 and he was 36 when they met and began dating. And then various other women have come forward with very similar stories to corroborating what she's saying, that the same thing happened to them. And then Dita Von Teese, who was married to him for several years and was with him for many years, put out a statement just last night, I want to say, saying, thank you so much to folks who asked. I never personally experienced this. I witnessed a lot of drug abuse, she says, but was not physically abused herself. But she in no way means to negate what Evan Rachel Wood or any other women have gone through. And then Marilyn Manson himself denies it all, but his record label has dropped him. What do you make of this?
I mean, this of course all becomes that thing also like, well, if he were at the height of his selling power, would the record label have reacted similarly, or was it easy for them to be like, oh, you are not what you used to be, we can cut you off and not have to have this conversation anymore? I mean, I'm always, I always encourage people to come forward with their stories, and obviously, those stories ultimately need to be corroborated and need to be proved, but it seems like other people are doing that. Mm-hmm. So at this point, at this stage of it, all we can do is sort of watch and see what happens and what what comes out in the wash, because none of us are privy to anything that,
Sure.
that is, not known generally.
I mean, it doesn't sound like a particular surprise that Marilyn Manson would be under these types of accusations. And I don't mean just persona wise. I mean, just like the way he's talked about stuff in the press and just, yeah, it's just like, oh yeah. All right. I mean, as opposed to like, all of the interviews I've ever seen with Alice Cooper, it's like, he's kind of just fucking around. Right. And he doesn't, if he is the type that is also that type of abusive, he at least like off stage, it doesn't hit that on stage, like scary vampire persona that he's got doesn't seem like when he's off stage, he's kind of just like, this is what we do. And like he's having fun. And you never really got that sense from Marilyn Manson, like off stage, like he's still that intense. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, that being said, I don't know either of them, don't know, but I'll believe Evan Rachel Wood.
Totally. And of course, and along those lines too, different but similar, there was a big takeout in Variety a couple days ago about Armie Hammer and the state of his career, and the fact that like nothing has been proven, nothing is definitive. There are accusations. We don't even know if the Instagram posts are real, but like just the whiff of it, just like the ugliness of the idea of it is enough that he lost this romantic comedy he was going to go shoot with Jennifer Lopez. Josh Duhamel has replaced him in that role. And then he lost the role in this Godfather prequel, right? What is it?
The
Paramount, the Robert Evans. Yeah. And so he was going to be in that. And so he's lost these two big high profile roles. And so the Call Me By Your Name sequel that he was going to do with Luca Guadagnino is, still kind of on the back burner because he's got other stuff going on. But like, it's basically about how Armie Hammer's career is just in a standstill, although it's all very nebulous.
But then there's like, isn't Guadagnino and Chalamet and Hammer weren't they going to do some cannibal love story? Like,
yes, there is some kind of cannibal movie. Is Armie Hammer in that too, or is it just Timothée? Anyway,
I don't remember off the top of my head. I mean,
anyway,
look, like
it's a lot.
That's another one, right? Like we don't have any proof. Who knows what's going on? I am a little bit suspicious of somebody. Like if you tell me that this person is dehumanizing and acting that, kind of controlling over other people, and he comes from the money that the Hammer family has. Okay. I could connect those dots. I mean, and like, that's another one. Like, yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know what to say, but like, I won't be surprised to find out it's all true.
Well,
I mean, frankly, it'd be a little, I'd probably be more surprised to be like, oh yeah, actually he's super squeaky clean and it's all cool.
Anonymous friends and like insiders who are quoted in this Variety story say that like the extramarital affairs are definitely a thing and something that everybody knew about for a while, but like as far as the cannibalism,
but he hadn't eaten anyone yet.
Right.
I mean, for me, it always just kind of comes down to this. Like, even in the way where we've gotten to today, women who come forward with this stuff face so much shit and so many threats and so many, like, kind of this notion that if you're an actress or you're in the industry that you're never going to work again because, it gives you a bad rep. So I am inclined to believe them when they come forward, because whatever they're going to get out of it is far outweighed by the shit they're going to have to deal with. But at the same time, obviously, everybody deserves their moment in court, and they're, they should have the ability to defend themselves. So, we are at the beginning of both of these waves of accusations and of public discussion. So, we'll just have to see how they play out.
Yes, we will follow all of this. Anyway, Matt, you have marquees for us this week.
Yes, I do. Let me share my screen. Okay, our first picture comes from AgPitt. This is the Bytown Theater in Ottawa, and unfortunately, it is closing down just this past month. The marquee says, "Thanks, Ottawa, for 32 wonderful years." It says some stuff in French that I will not try and pronounce because my French is terrible.
Do it, Alonso.
It's a weird angle. I can barely read it. Like
peut-être venir.
Maybe coming to the screen,
the
best of Bytown.
Yeah.
www.bytown.ca. It's BYTOWNE.
Yeah. Because they are doing some stuff online. So if you are local or just want to support the legacy of a local theater in Ottawa, you can go to bytown with an E.ca. This next picture is the owner of the Bytown Theater, ironically framed between two posters of Netflix movies.
That's irony for you.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, that's...
We got Marriage Story and The Irishman there.
Right? So thank you to AgPitt for sending these pictures in. Our next pictures are from San Diego. This one is the Observatory Theater in North Park. The marquee says, officially tested positive for missing live music. Deborah Steger sent these in, and she says, here's the marquee from the Observatory Theater in San Diego. The message is not film related, but is definitely relevant. It's a beautiful venue inside, which shares this beautiful picture. That's a gorgeous interior of that theater. The North Park Theater, this is from the website. The North Park Theater has a great deal of history. Originally opening in 1929, over the years, the theater has hosted theatrical productions, musicals, symphonies, films, and concerts. She says, thanks and have a good week.
It's all red and gold and like richly ornate in the interior.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous theater. I have a couple more pictures that I picked up. This one because it made me laugh. So the Center Cinemas in Queens had actually closed in January 25 because the operator was unable to renew the lease. The owner of the building at that time had said that they were going to build a 5 to 7 story building with about 60 or 70 apartments with 20% of the units being affordable. 6 years later, nothing has happened.
Wow.
So somebody just kind of, I guess, got bored and put that up over the weekend, and it says Death by Speculation starring Limp Dick Landlord.
Playing at 3 different times during the evening.
At 3 different times.
It's a hit.
Right? And then the last one that's more hopeful than anything else. This is the Screening Room Theater in Kingston, Ontario, who've recently announced on their website that the screening room is currently closed for the province-wide lockdown. If permitted, we believe we might be able to open on February 12th, 2021. So fingers crossed for Kingston, Ontario, that as this one says, the magic of movies will return. The marquee says, closed for lockdown, take care of yourselves, the magic of movies will return. And that is it for the marquees this week.
Thanks, everyone.
And Christy has an announcement.
Oh, I do kind of, yeah. So before we go, and I'll mention this later on too, I'm starting a new little spin-off podcast with Nick. It's called Marvel Mondays. It was his idea. He wanted to go back and rewatch all the Marvel movies from the very beginning. And he realized he hadn't seen any of the Iron Man movies or the first couple of Thors, but he's seen Guardians and most of the Avengers movies, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, the later ones. And so I thought maybe it'd be kind of fun after each one to have a little conversation together. And so over the weekend, we watched the first Iron Man.
How old was he when the first Iron Man came out?
He was not alive yet.
He was -1.
You know what? He hadn't even been conceived yet because it was 2008 and I had him in November of 2009. So he was not even a gleam in my eye, or I guess it'd be Chris's eye. Whose eye? It'd be Chris's eye.
So many gleams.
He didn't exist. So we were trying to make him, and eventually he arrived.
I mean, that's the best part of kids.
Yes. So it was a trip to go back and watch it with him through the eyes of what we know now from having seen so many more of these films and from having watched WandaVision, which we both love so much. So they're real quick, and we're going to do them every Monday, Marvel Mondays. We're going to do them in the order in which they came out theatrically. There's also the school of thought. You could watch them chronologically, like beginning with Captain America and then doing Captain Marvel. Right. So it'll be fun. I'm excited. So we had a good time. We laughed our way through the whole first episode and it'll be good. So tune in on Monday.
It's just another Marvel Monday. Whoa.
It is. It's true.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BeFastAllDay. And hey, why not drop by our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Talking about WandaVision. What a WandaVision this week. Talking about Bridgerton and lots of other fun stuff exclusively for our subscribers. So check it out. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll catch you next time. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.
Bye.